This past week during the Christmas Eve service at my church, I'm up in the pulpit, I'm up in the front, I'm reading, I'm leading, and my kids are just giggling through the whole thing. Like, they're really good church kids. They're 5 and 3, and they joke and they play as they should, but they're never just constantly like uncontrollable giggles and laughs just under the surface, and then they like whisper something to each other and they both hilariously break out, and my wife's like, "What is going on?" Well, I had no idea what was happening from the pulpit. And as it turns out, they were laughing at my call to worship for the whole service. For the call to worship, I read the prologue from John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God in the beginning. But I read it in the Voice translation. Hold on, the kids are screaming. Crisis averted. So I read the prologue to John 1, from the Voice translation, which is sort of a thought-for-thought and dynamic equivalence translation. I really like it. And the whole shtick of it is that it has a poetic bent that each... The way that they did the translation work was they took the passages and they divvied it up between teams of scholars. But each scholastic team was given an artist that matched the genre. So, like, the Psalms had singer-songwriters added to the teams. The Gospels had novelists and biographers added to the teams. Things like that. Poets are engaged in all of it. And the translation team writes how they want to translate it, but it has to clear the poet. And so the poet's changes then have to clear the scholar before it can get published. Really neat process, really cool product. No Bible is perfect. I think this one's really good for the person who's never read the Bible or the person who's read the Bible too much. Anyway, John 1 in the Voice is beautiful. It uses the language of the voice. Since before time itself was measured, the celestial voice was speaking. Like, that's good, right? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. Is beautiful. That's already poetic. But the Voices version, it's really great too. It's fresh, and it's alive, and it's poetic in the way that modern, contemporary poetry functions. And so it gets to the part where it describes Jesus as the light of the world entering a world of darkness, and the darkness not being able to overcome it. That's the language of John, right? In him was light and life. And the light shone in the darkness, and the darkness did not understand it and could not overcome it. In the Voice, it says, this light life, it thrives in darkness and blazes through murky bottoms. The kids were laughing the whole service, and still today, at the phrase, Merky Bottoms. Every now and then, things will be quiet out here. Merky Bottoms. So I guess that just like you should, when you come up with potential names for your child, you should filter them through other children to see how they would make fun of it, what the kids think. You should do that with your Bible translation too, because blazes through murky bottoms sounds kind of lovely. But if you ran it by a class of first graders, they would think it was hilarious, and you probably wouldn't have included it in your call to worship on Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas, grace and peace, friends.